So, this is an Xcode demo project covering all dark modes issues that you may realistically face too. So, I have a simple application that is a one-screen app running in the simulator on iOS 13, has a one screen, now with one label only, background, no rocket science. And we switch the app to the dark mode. So I click on settings, developer. Oh, it was in dark mode, now it is in light mode, and the app is the same. As expected, because when you look on the code, if you look on the code, we have background color is white and text color of the label is purple. So it is as expected. Works on iOS 13, doesn't work in dark mode. So what to do with that? I make it a bit more realistic, as I'm not limited to iOS 13. The project works on iOS 11 or higher, so it's more realistic. So let's move to the first step you will have to do, moving the app to dark mode. Forget on colors. Try to use semantic names for colors, like this is not purple, this is a text label. This is not a white, this is your app background. If you have a button, it's not a blue, it's a text on a button, or it is a background on a button. I moved an app in past 2 weeks to the background and have around 30 names across all the app, and can imagine that you can have even more. So it's not a trivia, and spend a lot of time selecting proper naming. You will see that if you correct it, if you choose the naming incorrectly, you will have to rework that because you will be lost in the app. So Apple provides in iOS 13 name called system background, which is a name for a color. You see, the type is UI color, and it's standard name for a background in your app, and a standard name for a text color of a label is label. Looks weird, but it works. When we build it, it works in a light mode. If we switch it to dark mode, suddenly it's dark. Super. Unfortunately, it's black, and this is white, because the system color for label is white in a dark mode, and black in the light mode. So what to do with that? You have to choose two choices. First, rely on Apple system names, or you can choose your own colors. So if you want a text color and you don't want a label, you can change it to green, which is the old way. Forget on it, because on a dark mode, the green is not green. Green in light mode is standard green. In a dark mode, it's a little bit different green. So Apple has a new name called System Green. If you select System Green, it will look green. In the dark mode and also in the light mode. Here on the bottom is a new button when you can override the mode. So I don't need to, in the simulator, to go to the settings and switch it. I can switch it directly from Xcode. Great help. And you see, it's green, and the color of the green is a bit lighter in dark mode. It's probably not visible, but it's a different color. Good so far? This is only available for iOS 13 or higher. For 12 or lower, we have to use the standard naming. The code otherwise will not compile. Everything clear? Super. So let's move to the next stage. When we want our own colors. I am not happy with the green Apple provides me, because all my app is orange, and I have to deal with that. So, the easiest way
you can refresh the code.
So the easiest way is to setting your own colors in assets. You can define own colors, and the easiest way how to set your own colors for the dark mode. So you have a name of a color, and then you have appearances. You may have standard choice is none, which means one color, as before. In iOS, in Xcode 11, you have two other choices, any dark and any light dark, which means I provide a color for a dark mode and then for anything else, which means that if I have iOS 12 or lower, I have only choice any. If I'm in iOS 13, I have choice dark, choice light, and realistically, theoretically, some blue mode or whatsoever, which is any. So you will probably choose any and dark, which means you have two colors. One for dark and second for anything else. In theory, you can define for iOS 13 light color, dark color, and color for iOS 12 or lower. You will never use it probably. Clear? So we have three names: my label background, my label text, and my standard background. And I set a color. I will make it nicer in the next comment. So for a background color, I choose UI color named my standard background, text color background color, and if I run it, you see red color. I switch it to dark mode, to light mode, and it's different. Everything works because it's UI color. If you use UI colors, it's super easy. Define your own colors in assets and choose colors by its names, and you are done. Everything else is done by iOS. Unfortunately, life is not so easy. Because now the changes, I set static variables for colors. So I will use the names just to make it more convenient for background text, blah blah blah. And I have a new view called gradient view, which is a view showing CA gradient layer, which looks nice. Probably you will use it because it looks great. Nice gradient from black to some gray, which is super. I switch it to light mode, and nothing happens. You see, everything has changed, but the gradient is the same. It's for the dark mode. And if I look, how do I define the colors, my gradient start and my gradient end? You see, I would expect that it will be green or blue. Something is wrong. And what is wrong is here. We set to a gradient layer not UI color, but CG color. And CG color is not covered by the magic, which is done for everything else. So a question for iOS, what color to choose? You see, it's expected to provide UI color named myGradient_start CG color. It's forced unwrapped because I know that the color exists. And if I look on start, so should I take black or green? So, who believes that it is the color depending on a current mode of the phone, of the simulator or the phone? Raise your hand.
When it starts.
Yes. When you start the app, or rather, not when you start the app, but when you are here in a view did load. Because here you did, no. Even no. It's an initializer of the view. Here you set the CG color. So who believes that the CG color is the color selected per the current mode of the app? Raise your hand. Few. Fair. So we have two other choices, which is random or some other. Who believes it's random? Fine. And who believes some other? Super. So you know. The others know. And the fact is, it's not defined. So I wouldn't say that it is not a random, because in most of the cases it somehow works. But the fact is, it's not guaranteed to work. It is more or less not defined random. The magic behind works that the app has its own variable like current trait, which knows whether the app is in dark or in light. Unfortunately, this variable is updated only a few methods, and initializer here is not the case. So what you see here is something you should never write. Let's move how to do better.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Question. So it's not defined like by design, like it's in the documentation that it's
Yeah. Official Apple statement, not defined. The value is not defined. So don't rely on that. There is a new method provided by Apple only in iOS 13 called resolved with trait collection, which means it gives you the color per current or per stated trait collection provided as a parameter. So this resolved color method looks on this color and chooses green or black as per the value of the trait collection. And the value of the trait collection is here a parameter, and fortunately is available in a view and view controller. So in most of the cases, you know whether the current state of the app is black, it's dark or light. Clear to everyone? So the only thing you have to do is to submit as a parameter. So we run it. It's black. We switch it to a light appearance. Run it. And it's nice. Wonderful. So let's switch it to light mode, dark mode. Oh. Something is wrong. Or better, something is missing. Look at the code. The only place where we set the CG color to the layer is its initializer, which, by the way, is not called when you switch the mode. And it is not a UI color, but it's a CG color, so it still remembers the color. What to do with that? You know, it's obvious. Trait collection did change, which is here, and it being called in a moment when you switch it. And the only important point is here that I can set the colors of my gradient. I have an array with extension which takes an array of UI colors and returns an array of CG colors. So I can write it here like UI color my gradient, which is an array of my UI colors, and I want CG colors out of them, and I am not providing the traits, which is important because this is one of the few methods, and the list is here, where you don't need to submit that. You can, but it's not needed, because in a draw, layout subviews, trait collection will change. The value is available in a system. What is not defined in these methods is defined. So when we run it, I switch mode. Should work. Now it works. Okay? And we are almost done. Almost. This is the most trickiest part. Which says not all colors can be stored in the end. Some colors can come in through API or whatsoever, user can enter. So not all colors can be in the assets. Some have another source. And in this case, I have a not so much artificial case. When I have a struct showing red, green, blue values, and this is coming from API, which is shared with Android, so nobody will change it because on Android it works. But these colors are not looking so nice in a dark mode. So I need to create a UI color which will, in fact, provide two values, one for light mode and one for a dark one. And there is a method called, or property called dark, which provides value for these parameters for a dark mode. Which more is a trivia. If the color is like this, then show the color like this. And everything here, I have to find it, is simulated here. Somehow, I get the value of my RGB, and I set it as a text color value for the label. And it's called as a UI color. So everything will work out of the box because it's UI color. I can stop it, run it. You see this is a red label, and if I change the mode, it's green. So somehow it works. And now watch how this is being done. And everything in here is in the initializer of the UI color, which is available only for iOS 13. If it is iOS 12 or lower, do the standard stuff. No black, no dark mode. And there is a new initializer with a dynamic provider, which you can look on that as a UI color, as something like a wrapper. It's not a wrapper, it's specially created UI color. Initializer that can be called by iOS with a parameter of a trait collection. And it's expected that it returns back UI color for given traits. So you see, iOS provides the trait collection as a parameter of the closure, and I switch here. If it is a dark mode, I return UI color with a modified value. If it is standard way, I return standard UI color. It's a bit tricky, so if you don't catch it right now, it's too far to the screen, take time, do it later. It's the most difficult part of all of that. Any questions? Okay. Then let's move. Images. Images work on very similar way as colors. You can simply have an image which is set for any or dark. If you run it, no special code is needed. Simply set the image, and when you switch the mode, it changes automatically out of the mode. This is good, but only for images which are in the assets. If the image comes through some API, you probably will not need to change it. But if you do, if you need to modify the image, there is no support in iOS. You have to code it on your own. You have to catch everything. There is nothing like the dynamic provider for UI color when you can provide for an image a closure returning two different images. Unfortunately not. So this is, remember that. Next. Is just an example what to do if you want to have, because in UI assets now I have two images for one asset. And what if, I think it's a bit artificial, what if you want to select, for example, the dark image for any mode selected by the user? Then, according to my opinion, you should call this like, I want an image, I look on an image asset, and then I want an image with this trait collection. Doesn't work. According to my opinion, it's a bug. I believe it should work, but the fact is, it doesn't work. Hopefully, I probably fill a radar, we'll see what happens. I understand it as a bug. And this is the last commit, which is something you should be aware of, but let's see whether you can practically use it, but you should be aware. You know that in iOS 13, there is a change in modal presentation where before it was full screen, now it is, I think, page screen or something like a page. So you can see what is behind. And one of the points related to the background is that when I use system background, there is another trait called level. And when I run it, I have to run it in dark mode, otherwise nothing happens. This is a white mode, and when I click on a button, it simply modally presents the same view. To make it very simple, when I click on button, it presents modally the same view controller. I do it, and it looks pretty standard in light mode. And when I run it in dark mode, now the background is black. It's pure black. And if I click on a button, it presents the same view controller, exactly the same, no change in color. And it is a bit lighter. You don't see it. You have to trust me. It is. It is a bit lighter because in a trade's elevated level is value elevated, which means iOS thinks that when you present modally some view controller over another one, it should be a bit lighter to see that it's closer to, it's a front of the others. It works if you set the color system background. By the way, there are not only system background, but there is a secondary system background, tertiary system background. If you need to make your application a bit more plastic, to have more views when the background is varies. And if you use the system background or secondary system background whatsoever, then the elevation applies and the background is a bit lighter, even you specify system background. Just to be aware of that, if you use your own colors, it will not affect you at all. And I have nothing more. So hopefully not boring for those who understand. Question?
How does it work with tinted images, for example, for icons?
The same way. You set a tint color, a color you want. It is a UI color. There it is, a UI color, it works. So if you have an image, and the value is used as a template, and tint color specified as a blue or system blue, it varies, nothing more is expected. Just don't specify the tint color as a blue, specify system blue, or your own color from the catalog. This part works out of the box. WebView supports dark mode, so look on the internet how to modify CSS on the pages, and if the page is ready for dark mode, then the page will be in dark mode.
Let's say you also need to adjust the font weight on the dark mode to increase the readability of the labels. How do you adjust the font weight to dark?
Weight, you mean bold or regular? This is something completely independent. Nothing to do with. Nothing to do. If you want to, then you have to program it, which means check what is the self.tradeCollection.user. Here you may see it. I show you. I haven't shown, this is important. Like here. In UI color resolve, gradient view, no, must be here. Trade collection did change, self-trade collection user interface style, if it varies, you can do whatever you want.
Is there any notification or something which you can detect the change of trades?
Standard one, nothing new, but standard. Yes, not trade collection has changed.
Okay.
Did change. Standard notification.
Second question of mine is there are some features of CA layers that we use, like shadows or borders that use colors.
Everything in CA layer uses CG color?
Yeah, it uses
So do what I shown you.
But then we have a huge amount of different views that all take advantage of borders and shadows. We have either subclass view to automatically refer to colors, or
the easiest way is to do exactly, forget on notification in the case, because if you override trade collection did change, you have the benefit that the CG colors are resolved by the system. You don't need to supply the trade collection.
yeah,
And if you have more of them and you need to set them, you can use something different I haven't mentioned here, like the resolved color. You can use how it is being called, resolve as current, and provide a closure which will be run with a value, with the internal value set. So it looks like I use it very rarely, self-resolve current, or resolve. Find it, please. It is called somehow as current, and the parameter is a closure which runs everything with a value current trait being set to the correct value, whether it is dark or light. So you don't need to provide specific value to each CG color. It's done automatically. But anyway, if you have a lot of views with the shadows or CLR values, you have a lot of coding ahead of you.
yeah, we have extensions on UI view.
Yeah, so I tell you what I did.
Okay.
First, think a long time and ask the UX people to provide you a graphic manual not with the orange, white, black, but with the names. Whether it's a text on a button, text on whatsoever, and if they provide you a too long list, good luck, make it shorter, think again, and then start to replace all the hard-coded colors with the semantic names.
I think I understand.
Okay. No easy. If you have CG color, a lot of coding.
Okay.
Nice question.
My question is like, how big is your ad, and how long did it take you to manufacture it? Set up that?
How big?
How many controllers?
So, not everything is controllers, and controllers is 5 times 6, roughly, something 30 to 50 controllers. I got very bad. It's being recorded, right? So I spent roughly 2 weeks. But there was a lot of CG colors. Otherwise, it's the trickiest part is checking whether you went really through all the app and you covered everything. Another question? Pizza. So, thank you for attention.